There we do. Right then, today's job, I'm gonna, well, I did a bit of prep work. I'm gonna weld these onto here, which is going to be the base for that. I'm gonna have probably another bit of metal over the top, just so I can sink things in as I need to. I think I need a, well, as well as the handle, I need a cut-off tool, and I'm thinking possibly the little chain maker's tool thing, which I suddenly can't remember the name of, but yeah, there's a few cracks and stuff in there, but it's quite knotted, so that'll take some whacking to destroy it. But turns out that that is just the right diameter for that to sit in. So I've got loads of metal bar and stuff, so I'm going to weld the rim around there and then possibly stick a few little rings or something like that on, so you can just plunk your tools in. So right, let's get started. Right, got them tacked in. There's just a couple of mil difference between those spans. You know, I'm not planning for a job doing any welding, so a couple of mils good enough for me. So I just need to run full welds all in, so they're in place, and then what I'm going to do is just sort of weld some feet on. But because I'm a blacksmith ish, I'm going to see if I can get some little prongy feet on as well, just to jazz it up a bit. So it's a combined fabricated blacksmithed forged stool thing. Right, I'll show off in a bit. Right, next bit. There you go. Nice welds all around. Oh, there you go. Happy enough with that. So, ever since I started drinking iron brew, the welds improved. So, if Paws would like to sponsor us, hey, you can get in touch. Right, I'm going to find some bits of metal and make the feet. See what I can find. Right, I'm going to cut that off, cut it into 3, and then make that to weld on the bottom. But while it's cooling down, I thought I'd do a little test fit, and that's just the right height, which means I know how to add up. Right, put some jazzy little feet on, and then I'll put the little sort of raised edge rim thing on. I'll have to trim it down a little bit so it fits securely, and then that'll look canny. Get in. Right, back to grinding. Right, there you go, that's them cut out. I've cheated a bit and just sort of used the cutting disc to cut the toes out. I just put a little bit of texture on there. It looks a bit shit at the minute, but once it's actually forged a bit more, it'll look a bit more organic and less, well, shit. So I'm going to get the forge on. I'm going to curl these up a little bit, and then get them bent over and weld that to there. Right, forge time. Right then, fresh out the forge. The little bit of texturing I didn't seem to make much difference, but it kept us entertained. So yeah, I've got a bit of a sort of, well, I was thinking Argonian feet thing going on there. So yeah, so I'll clean them up and I'll get them ready for welding. But actually, something I did do while I was making them I christened the little anvil, and it's pretty good, even if I do say so myself. I just need to get, well, other bits done to that, and then ready to go. Right, clean up, well done there. Right, them tack welded in place. Once you take the scale off, the little bit of texturing I did shows up a bit more. So what it's going to look like after it's been painted, whether it will show up or not, I don't know, but well, you know, I know it's there, so that's enough. So right, I'm going to get all of them welded, and because it's going to be visible weld, that'll be where I make a mistake. So I'll do my best, because those welds up there were pretty good. So right, I'll get them done, see what they look like, and might stop for a sandwich, I don't know. Right, crack on. Well, for me of little faith, all in all, they were fairly tidy welds all round. There you go. Flipped over a little bit on that side, but right, I don't care. So that was me thinking I was going to do a shitty job all round. So, you know, the old saying, if you start to doubt your powers, you only give powers to your doubt. Ah, that's actually hot. Damn it. Right, I'm just going to, well, do a quick tidy up, wire brush down, and do something else. I haven't decided yet. Might have a sandwich now and then come back out. Ta-da. Right, I've remembered what I was going to do next. I was going to get the side piece rim thing. So this bar is more or less the right length, so I'm just going to heat that up and make it roughly round, and then I can just weld and bash it into place after that. I've got a feeling it might be just a little bit short, but I can find another bit and weld it in, and then I'll just grind it down and pretend that it was a perfect fit. So right, stick the forge back on. Right, hopefully you can hear us. I've tucked my beard in, so I might be a bit muffled. I've set the phone up just underneath the stand, so you can see us do some bending, and then I'll just sort of do a size up, well, size up around the rim, and then just sort of bullshit my way through it. yours, because you can only get each end in the little diddly forge. So I'll cheat a bit and I'll just shove it down the front. Get it, you can. And I'm going to set fire to my hand and everything's going to fall down. So back in a minute. Right, doesn't have to be that hot, it just needs to be a bit hot so it's a bit more bendy. Except the bit where I want it to bend, I didn't heat up enough. Actually, that's not bad. I need to bend that bit a bit more, but that's not so bad. So I think, actually, yeah, I'll work on the middle bit. And see if I can get it in without everything falling off. Set the garage alight. I've got a nice bending fork somewhere. Mostly there. Yeah, forgot to press record, but it's mostly there. I can just get it on and then do some fine tuning with a big hammer. So I'm cooling the curly end down and I'll stick the straight end in, and then I'll make it mostly a circle. Yep, not quite. That's better. Right, see you in a minute. Right then, other end. Middle's not that easy to bend because it's not that hot, but I did it. Straighten out a little bit, not bad. Right, it's more or less there. Just need to straighten it up a bit. A few little knocks here and there, but that's a fair bit shorter than I was expecting. Luckily for me, I've got plenty of metal, so while it's a little bit wonky, I'll straighten it up, and I think once I start welding it on, it's just going to need a few whacks here and there so it fits flush. So right, I'll see you in a minute. Right, got that mostly there. What I'm going to do on the bit I've got right, well, as I'm going to say, I'm just going to, well, stick some tacks on the top, weld along there, and then where it's not quite in, like there, once it's got a strong enough hold on with the welds, I'll just bray that in, and then I'm hoping that as I go along, the heat will actually start to warp it, and that'll be easier. Well, as it gets warmer with the weld, I can actually just knock it in a little bit easier. Did I say easier too many times there? Yeah, so it's easier. Right, it's easy. Right, that wasn't a pain in the arse at all, but that's now welded up. I don't think I need to do more than me multi-tack weld. I'm getting that extra bit on, welded in. That's still hot, so I'm going to leave that to cool down for a bit. Then I'm going to have a cup of tea, a sandwich, and then come back out, and then I'm going to trim that down with the axe a little bit so it fits in there, and then I'm going to have a think about how I'm going to sort the top. Right, sandwich time. Right, seems it's still a nice day. I'll take it outside. Just need to trim a few bits here and there. Well, slightly bigger bit there, but and then I'm going to start working on the top plate. So let's get stuck in. Right, tired now. Can't remember if I mentioned or not, but I made that and that the other day, which is going to link up. If you can actually see out the sun, which is going to go across there and somehow just help hold that in place. But I'm going to come back to that because I've been concentrating on that. So I've gotten a couple of plates cut out roughly. I've got the hole cut out for that anvil to go in. If you can see that circle, if I come in, that's more or less where I was going to put another tool, possibly my little chain making hooky beak thing, and then something there. I might make some sort of like little hardy hole type thing, so I can, if I do need to make more tools, at least I can just lift stuff in and out rather than having to make a whole new stump. So, but I think I'll tackle that tomorrow because I'm running out of steam. So right, that's that, I think. So I'll go and have me tea, but what I'm going to do is actually see if I can solve the mystery of the other two missing circles. Yeah, I don't know where they are, but I'll track them down, then I'll tell you what I'm doing with them. So, right, see you in a bit.